where they feel comfortable and can come share that with us, and we can sit down and what if scenario, we may have the same ingredients in place to have a similar incident. Let's work together so that we don't have that similar incident. And it's just that proactive, it's that trust. It just really, you get to really show, are you really one team? When you do that, you really exemplify one team mentality, and it takes work, takes time. You don't build that equity and that trust overnight. A lot of times, a contractor's hesitant. I don't want to go show my dirty laundry to my other client, but we build that trust. We don't look at it as we want to see it to see how bad you are. We want to see it so that we can learn from it and not have it repeated here. And I think it's super powerful and it's very effective for us.
And I think that was really the emphasis of my talk at ASSP. Is if you're creating the fear factor that if I tell you the truth about an incident that was relatively minor. I mean, Tim, you and I, Dr. Martin, we work in the industries where the metal meets the meat. We're not all in some
Yes.
office someplace worrying about paper clips and I hurt my back when I picked up the trash can. We're out there with cranes and heavy equipment and pulling and dragging out of the ground, and then you're putting it in a pipe and transporting it all over the country. This is high hazard work. So
Yes.
things happen. People get their hands cut. People get 2 stitches. No injuries are acceptable, but there are some injuries that have serious injury and fatality potential, and there's some that don't. Both of those are OSHA recordable injuries. Both of those get on my total recordable injury rate calculation. And having worked with pipeline contractors, they may go from 25 base employees to a mainline project that you're doing and have 500 employees in the next 60 days. And then after this project's over, go back down to 25. So generating this trust, the math can be difficult to manage, right? Because you don't have a consistent employee count, man hours, things of that nature that others may have. But I think being able to say, look, if something happened, let's look at it in context. It's not a zero-sum game, because to do otherwise encourages me as a contractor to hide things from you. And if I hide things
Exactly.
from you, you can't make a good risk determination. You can't leverage your knowledge, skills, abilities, experience doing this to help me. And it's not a true partnership. It's only a partnership when things are going well.
Yeah,
Correct.
let me add something in there, James, because I think this is relevant to the conversation too. That when you have a partnership, part of the partnership is setting the standards correctly too. So I'll give you an example, or setting the standards of what you expect. Okay, example: you have an injury, and now you go to your or they have an injury, and the subcontractor comes to you and says, we have an injury. And you say, okay, I need you to do a root cause analysis. But you don't give them any guidance as to how you want it done, or what methods you want to use, or maybe a form that needs to be filled out, or how deep you want them to go. And if you don't give them the criteria, then you don't get back what you need, and the process gets longer, and that trust kind of gets broken because you're saying no, no, no. I'll give you an example of in my career. I wrote a report for a manager when I was a young kid, and he took a big red marker and wrote no on the front and handed it back to me. Now, constructive? I mean, I knew it wasn't right, but I didn't know what I was supposed to fix. And he wasn't very good at being clear on what it was he wanted. Right. And so that breaks part of that trust factor too. So I would think, Tim, and part of your processes that you put in place, they're there, but they're negotiable with the contractor on that one team basis, right? You got to know what you're up against.
Absolutely. And you make a great point, Dr. Martin. I mean, not all contractors have the internal resources. We deal with, national contractors who have, lots of resources internally for safety and compliance. And then we deal with some smaller companies that maybe don't have a strong bench where safety is concerned. They don't have dedicated resource. They're as committed. They just don't have that. So we work with them in different ways. Our expectations are the same, but we can work with them on the root cause analysis and those things. So yeah, we don't just throw it out there and say, figure it out. If that's not teamwork, if we want to share the same goal and the same vision and they don't have the resources, we can help them with that. And that goes a long way, because it can be overwhelming to a smaller contractor to say, well, I've got to have the same resources as the big guys and I can't afford that. We don't want them to feel left out on that event. So we really help them with that, with root cause analysis, et cetera. So it evens the playing field that way.
I love it.
The expectations are the same, but we help them with the tools. Yeah.